This segment is brought to you by Trap Chevrolet. We're always on your side. All right, we are back here on Bayou Time. I'm Martin Falls, and we're going to talk about bands in the area because you've heard me say it before, playing sports at Vanderbilt. We were out there practicing, and we saw the band practicing on the side of us. We would go in the locker room. We were getting undressed, getting ready to go home and study for whatever tests we had or whatever, and the band was still out there. So over the years, you've often heard me say that the bands don't get enough credit. So the other day, I forget where I saw this, but we had bands getting superior ratings across the board. So I called up our local school board and got permission from the PIO and the superintendent and everybody to do special show outside of their normal show because we want to start showcasing the bands here in the area. And I've asked them, and I'm going to leave them with my cell number when they leave, we want to know more about the bands. They put in so much hard work. So we're going to have two different shows here. So if you see in this show, you'll see 3 that received great awards, and then we'll have 2 more coming up on the other segment. So let me introduce our guest, Von Luquette, who's at Terrebonne High School, symphonic band director, but he's been there for 22 years. Congratulations on that.
Sure.
That's a long time to be there.
It's a long time.
But you're doing well. We have Dustin Jones right next to him, Terrebonne High School concert band, in his 8th year as director, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, good to have you on board. All right, then on the end, we have Mr. Andy Messina, who's been at Terrebonne High School and the mixed choir director for 18 years.
I direct all choirs at Terrebonne and Houma Junior High.
Okay, good deal. Thanks for that info. All right, so let's start off. Y'all going to be the ones that educate us here because a lot of this is Greek to a lot of people. Now, it's not Greek to the ones who participated in it every year. But Vaughn, take us to 2025 LMEA District 7 Large Ensemble Festival results. Houma Junior High Symphonic Band, South Terrebonne High Symphonic Band, Terrebonne High Concert Band, Terrebonne High Symphonic Band, Houma Junior High Treble Choir, Terrebonne High Women's Choir, Terrebonne High Mixed Choir, Superior Rating on Stage, and Sight Reading Superior. What does that all mean to a guy like me?
Well, this is our state assessment results. All the bands go into, we all performed at LaFawn Center in St. Charles Parish, and they had stage judges, 3 stage judges, and 1 sight reading judge, and we're all graded on a rubric, and those of us who make superior on stage and superior in sight reading, we get a sweepstakes award, and that's what all that info means, basically, from there. So we had 4 high school, 4 bands, and then Andy's 3 choirs that all were able to achieve that.
How hard is it to get a superior? I've heard that sporadically through the years, but you don't hear that about every band. How tough is that to achieve?
It's pretty tough. We work on it pretty much all spring. The fall is a lot of marching band, that kind of thing, and we do our Christmas concert, and then we start into assessment season, and we all have to pick at least 1 tune off of a prescribed list that the state says we should be playing off of, based on our school size, that sort of thing, and level. And then the other 2 songs we get to choose, and then the state chooses the sight reading on a certain level, kind of like football, whatever classification you're in, and that kind of thing. So that's how it's chosen.
Well, let me ask you. I asked y'all this before the show, but and Vaughn, I'll ask you, and then I'll get to the others. But you got you, Dustin, and Andy at Terrebonne. And one of the first questions I asked you off camera is, got 3 band directors? I mean, I remember back in the day, especially at St. Francis with Billy King, kept telling me, don't puff your cheeks when you play the trumpet, and all this kind of stuff. But 3, is it more than that or is it 3? Explain how you get to 3.
Okay, well, Dustin and I do the bands,
Okay.
and we have 3 concert ensembles at Terrebonne, along with our marching band. So Dustin and I split up the responsibilities at Terrebonne based on the number of students we have in the band. That's our enrollment is why we have 2 of us. And then Andy takes care of all the choir. He does choir at Houma Junior High and at Terrebonne.
Okay, pretty cool. I want to turn to Dustin here in his 8th year, and we'll get him warmed up here, and we'll take a break and come back for the second segment. But first of all, congratulations. And I assume you're the youngest one in the bunch here. So to get a superior, I mean, it's got to mean a lot to you.
Yes, sir, it does. And this isn't our first year to make superior. Pretty long-standing tradition at Terrebonne to have superior bands. It's a lot of work put into it. And in the rubric, it's split up into a lot of subcategories like tone quality and timing and things like that. And I was looking at the score today, and there must be over 1,000 notes on the page. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And you can have 99 kids playing the same note right, and one person playing one wrong note, and what you hear is that one wrong note. So it really strives. You have to reach for the highest level, and everything has to be just right.
One bad apple can spoil a whole bunch, girl.
Right, yeah. Absolutely.
All right, let's do this. We'll take a break. We're going to come right back. Not only are we commending them, but I'm trying to teach myself and you everything they do to get a superior rating. We'll be right back. This segment was brought to you by St. Martin and Bourke. Know your rights. All right, we're back giving the band some love, especially some of these bands that have been around for a long time. Superior ratings across the board. And we could do more of this. And I've encouraged them to call me, and we want to keep talking about the bands because they deserve a lot of attention for what they've done. So I'm going to go back to Vaughn, Dustin, and Andy. And Dustin, will come back to you. But just in general, I guess we could call, just like I call Vanderbilt softball as a dynasty with what they started, Coach Albert and Margaret and so many other people. Y'all have a dynasty with the bands, don't y'all? Come on, don't be modest. Call it a dynasty. Y'all got a pretty good track record.
I guess we took it over at a good spot, though.
Yeah, but and I guess for the people who are in the band who later want to come and help with the band, success breeds success.
Absolutely.
Once you set the template, it's set, and you don't want to be the one to let them down. So,
Right.
Dustin, you were explaining to me the meticulous nature of the notes.
Absolutely. And it's not just the right note at the right time. You go into the tuning or the balance as well, the mix of the chords as well so that it sounds right. One person playing just a little bit too loud can completely ruin a piece, or a little too soft or anything like that. And then it gets into the musicality, is it something memorable to the judges as well that they want to put that stamp on? That superior
So the
rating.
subtleness of where you fit in,
Absolutely, it's
you
very
have to
nuanced.
master that.
And we say all the time that rehearsal isn't for you to learn your part. Rehearsal is for you to come in and learn everybody else's part and how your part fits in that. And it's all part of a bigger idea, something bigger than yourself.
For people watching, they may hear a band playing and go, "Oh, that sounds pretty easy. I bet I could do that." Trust me. I'm in a band, and I'm around masterful people who can play their instruments, and I'm going, that took a long time to master that. This ain't just something you wake up, unless you're a savant, you don't wake up and go, let me play the piano. Something takes a lot of practice.
A lot of practice. And we have a lot of kids, and we actually had record-breaking numbers for All-State this year, too, which is another audition round. We had, 11 from in the bands, and Andy, how many did you have?
4 or 5 there.
4 or 5. That's 15 just from Terrebonne High. All-staters, some of the best in the state musicians. And these kids are going off to college, and I'm filling out all kinds of stuff right now for college applications, but so many kids are going on and continuing music after they leave here. which is really gratifying that they get to keep that part in their lives.
That's fantastic. And music, I tell people all the time, if I had to choose again between athletics and music, and I'm not lying to the public, I'd have picked music. I mean, you walk with pain every day from playing sports, but unless the tuba guy hits you in the head while playing in a marching band, you're okay. But music is just such a big part of all of our lives. Andy, when we're talking about the choir, and I know when you talk, first of all, you got to find people that can hit the notes. Okay?
Yes. Yeah.
And if they close, you can develop
Correct.
that kind of stuff. But I bet you could sit there and listen to something, and you could say, all right, somebody didn't hit the A note, or somebody didn't.
That happens many, many, many times every day.
Right. But you're trained
Yeah.
to pick it up. How hard is it to get it to that point?
Takes time. It takes time. Lots of trial and error.
Yeah.
You know.
And in this, I guess there's people graduate, and then you got to pull some of the underclassmen up.
Yeah. So with me being the guy for Houma Junior High and Terrebonne, so
You see
February.
it coming.
well, yeah. Well, in February, I had to visit all 6 of the feeder schools and go meet the little 6th graders and see who had what it took, both musically and behaviorally, to be part of what we have going on. And hopefully we have a good flow. I think I have 5 or 6 seniors leaving me, but I have a whole bunch more incoming 7th graders. So.
But I'm not being cute here, but at the early age, their voices are changing.
Yes, and we have to deal with that too,
Yeah,
especially with boys.
Yeah. So you're trying to see the voice changes and say, okay, but I guess you could tell if they have it or not, even if their voices are changing.
Yes. Yes. I just need to determine whether they're teachable or not. And then we go from
Isn't
there.
that the key with all of y'all? Are they
Absolutely.
teachable? That's a big thing, isn't it?
It's more, do they want it,
Yeah.
than teachable.
Yeah. Gotta have the right attitude.
Yeah, I guess y'all see that a lot is that, all right, my parent wanted me to be in the band and really don't want to be here, as opposed to, I'm dying to be in the band.
It's a lot of work, so not a lot of them dying to be there, but that's our job.
Yeah.
Our job is to make them want to be there and love what we do.
But I noticed the
Make it worth
fraternity,
it.
the fraternity or sorority of a band, how you want to look at it, is so strong. At the end, band people stick together,
Dude.
for life.
And we're one of the only teachers on campus that see the kids all 4 years. So we really get to see the progression whenever they come in as little freshmen or rookies that, don't know up from down. And then you talked about finding their voice with Andy, but they really do find their voice through choir or band, and they really do grow up fast. It's amazing to watch.
That's great to hear too. Let's do this. We'll have one more segment. We'll come back, talk about what's it like when you see them for 4 years and they reach that culmination and they get a superior. All right, we'll take a short break. We'll be right back. Don't go away. This segment was brought to you by Rouse's Markets. Feels like home. All right, we're back talking with the bands. We're going to be showcasing several bands here in the near future. Von Luquette, Terrebonne High School Symphonic Band Director, Dustin Jones, Terrebonne High School Concert Band Director, and Andy Messina, Terrebonne High and Houma Junior High Mixed Choir Director. All right, so I'll ask all of y'all this question. So you got Joe or Jane comes in at an early level and you're going, okay, this one's going to take a lot of work. But then when they become a junior and a senior, you're going, holy smoke, what happened here? How many times do you see that? Vaughn, we'll start with you.
It happens pretty often. They come in young, but we just can't give up on them, and we push them and try to find something that they enjoy doing and show them a little bit of success, and then that success leads to other successes, and then there they are. We're going to miss them
Yeah.
when they leave.
No doubt. Dustin?
I mean, you never know what day they're going to find that spark. You never know. And that really puts it on us to be on our A game every single day. And I just think we can't let them down. You know, we have to keep pushing, and we have to keep showing them what they can do, what they can become. And eventually they reach that.
Yeah.
They'll reach for it.
Andy, let me ask you, when you're doing the choir and the harmony, and of course in the band we do 3-part harmonies. We repeat it sometimes because we have such a big band. But, you know, if I'm supposed to be at an A on 7 Bridges Road, there's a lot of other people that got to be at a certain. The hardest part for anybody in the band is stay on your note. And it's hard to drift. I mean, it's easy to drift off if you're hearing somebody else that's influencing you. How do you discipline them to stay on that note?
Teach them to read. Teach them to read music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
And that's a big integral part of what we do in that sight reading room, especially. Because to me, in a way, I almost value that sight reading score, maybe almost a touch more in stage, because that shows some music literacy. And if they have that going on, then it feeds into the concert because they can learn that music faster, which allows us, probably in your world too, you know, more time to do the fine tuning.
All right. Andy, tell them what sight reading is.
So sight reading, students come in the room, they have X amount of time to prepare a piece of music they've never seen before. It's straight up, you know, there's certain rules. We can do certain things as directors. They could do certain things as students. And they have a judge in the room, and they have somebody keeping time in the room and holding everyone accountable. And at the end of that, we have to perform that piece of music. And it isn't just singing the right notes at the right time. There's, you know, dynamic marks. There's articulation marks. We have to know what those things are, and we have to execute them on command.
And that's why I say it's hard to play football, but it's not as intricate as it is playing in a band. I mean, you learn your position, you know it, you do it repetitively, but y'all have just, it's incredible to see that. And I do find that band members make pretty doggone good students.
Yeah.
Is that because of the training they have to learn and be repetitive and absorb?
I think it's mainly because what we do, we have to count on every individual student. We don't have a second string. We don't have anybody we can sub in if that one gets tired.
Joe, get in for John.
Exactly. Everybody's held accountable for their part all the time, and we don't have any other option but to get it.
But how much pressure is that? Just real quick, Dustin will come to you. You don't want to be, if Ann's in the second chair or whatever, she don't want to let the group down because it could bring the whole thing crashing down. So you got to go home and practice, don't you?
Well, I mean, pressure is a privilege. You know, I mean, especially today, it's so easy just to go home and veg out. But putting yourself in those positions where you do feel that pressure, I mean, it means you're actually doing something worthwhile.
Yeah, there's no doubt. For the last minute and a half, Vaughn, we'll start with you. What does that mean to keep getting these superiors? And it's trophies on the mantle, but what does it really mean?
For me, it's a standard that we strive for year after year, concert after concert. 22 years ago when I started at Terrebonne, the band was a lot smaller than it was, and the success has bred us into almost 190 kids in the band next year. So for me, it's looking at it from what we're building, and to see those students of Mardi Gras, we go out and see all those kids on this. They're no longer kids, but they're on the side with families, and being successful is what it's all about.
That's unbelievable. Dustin?
I mean, I think Vaughn said it all.
Yeah.
I think that's it.
Superior. It says it on the thing. And Andy, just I feel for you because I know sometimes in our band, if we hear one person go off kilter on the 7 Bridges Road, all faces turn to that person. Like, really? So you got to hit your mark and do it right. Yeah. I just want to congratulate y'all for the work y'all have done, and that's why I wanted to have y'all on, and keep us posted as you go. And we're going to be rolling in some video with this too, and just congratulations to the students who chose being the band and the choir and all of these things. And thank y'all so much for what y'all do. It adds a lot to a school. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. There you have it. We'll take a break. Check for our other show. We have others on this same realm. We'll be back. This segment was brought to you by Waits and Downer, attorneys at law.